go.
You are live on Channel 4. Please do not swear. Other channels are also available.
Please do not say
yeah,
fuck
we're
or
like
bugger.
ITV.
Yeah. Alright, so you have all given a long rest during your night stay at the winery. The druid will have awoken, but bound and on his own, have been pretty much helpless in his escape. I'm assuming that you guys would have just set up a single person to keep an eye on him, stop him from sneaking off or anything strange or startling. Very easily done. You could literally just cast the tiny hut, so that it was
in the way of the door. Yeah.
Question: who attuned to the magical items? I have missed that. Who attuned to the light?
I got the sword. And
staff.
He's got the staff.
Yep.
Lovely. Just checking.
I was scared it was gonna be cursed for a second. It's like shit.
Yeah, so you have your new items, a little bit of reward, and you have plans for the day. Whenever you wake up, it's probably you got a fairly early night the previous night, so it is you do wake up probably nice and early in the morning, probably around like 6 a.m. start. A quick discussion with Adrian will reveal that one of the barrels was damaged downstairs due to the thunder waves you summarize. And he's going to be decanting it into a different one, but it's going to take him a little bit of time because he's also got to, deal with some other things. He estimates it's going to take him probably about like 3 or 4 hours before himself and who's going to be going with him.
Who knows?
He reckons it'll be him and Elvir, but he reckons it'll take them at least about 4 hours before they're ready to go. So they'll set off at 10 a.m. But then, they're like, we hopefully you'll be joining us.
So we plan is head back, drop off wine, head to Kresik, go to Tree.
That was what you said?
Yeah, eventually. Because one of the things in Kresik that's of particular importance to us is the
Abbot.
The guy at the abbey.
You can't forget the woman. Yes, you got to find the woman, don't we? The apprentice.
Your ally.
Yeah. So, do we know that it's an apprentice? Because we know that there's an ally at the Abbey of St. Markovia, which is where we need to drop. It's Mark and Irina off.
I think I haven't seen the notes again, but I think we said it was like an apprentice. Lost. No, she's finding it. She's wandering to find her teacher. It was like the words.
Yeah. Vistana wanders this land alone, searching for her mentor. She may not stay in one place for long. Seek right at St. Markovia's Abbey near the mists.
But from out of character from because Melville was there. That's probably von Richten, bloody da.
Rudolf von Richten's apprentice.
Yeah, that's it.
Cool.
That's it.
Good question. Or Buddha, is your camera off intentionally, or is that just? Oh yeah.
He's just out of the way.
Hello.
2 seconds.
That's all good. I was just checking if it's only me.
No.
So, you have about 4 hours at the winery. You can use some of that time. Callan, you can ritual cast your purify food and drink. And you're able to confirm that the 3 vats are now no longer poisoned. And happily go back to their fermentation process. And eventually they will be able to produce more wine from those vats. Safely without poisoning mass amounts of people.
Wonderful. What I'll also do is ritual cast detect poison and disease, which lasts for 10 minutes. And has a range of 30 feet. So I will have a walk around the other areas that contain the wine, particularly the ones that we'll be delivering, to make sure that none of that is affected.
Fortunately, you're able to discern that the sealed barrels seem all to be untouched. It was just the vats that could have been tampered with, obviously.
Wonderful. The wine seems to be purified now, so we should be good to go. So just to confirm, we will take 6 barrels, 3 to the Blue Water Inn at Valaki, 3 to the Vistani camp on the way back once we've picked up Irina and Bismarck, and we will also then return to pick up some more on our way to Kresik. once we've deposited, once we've dropped off Ismark Irina at the Abbey in Kresik, we will head to the tree, the Goldforce tree.
We've moved your horses into our small stable. It's a little bit cramped, but they've been kept out of the rain. Which at this point, as you kind of like look out the window at the vineyard before you, in the sort of like bleak dawn light, the grey muted tones kind of falling across the vines, you see your like just road before you loom in the distance, but the rain has stopped.
Thank you for looking after the horses. Definitely hadn't slipped my mind. We should probably hook them up to the cart and look to make tracks.
You could always ride alongside us. We have our own horses to pull the cart as well. Might be helpful to have a bit of mobility.
I will stay on foot.
I think that would be a good idea. I'm happy to do that, unless somebody wants to accompany me so I can try and figure out a bit more about this this sword. Because presumably during my long rest I won't have slept necessarily for 6 hours. I would have been able to have a couple of hours of other kind of light rest.
Yeah, well, it's assumed. I mean, I said you guys kind of reached the winery. I said like I'll settle back in by around 8:30, 8 around 9, and then like sort of settled off the bed around 10. So that gave you time to like attune to the weapons as a short rest prior to your long rest, basically.
Yeah.
So you would have a little bit of time to interact and stuff.
Cool. So I suppose if there is any, because obviously this being a sentient weapon, never had a sentient weapon before out of character or in character. So like I'm not sure of how what I would get in terms of emotion, whether it's more situational or what, but I'll trust you to just.
I mean, like if you, I mean, you know, because you're attuned to it, it has senses at the 60-foot radius, so it's aware of what's going on around it. It can't speak, but whoever's in contact with it or carrying or wielding it, it can communicate with them via emotion. So, like, if you do something that the sun sword disagrees with, it might convey that. Or if you do something it agrees with, it might convey that you're doing something good.
Wonderful.
Maybe you can go on the cart if you want to try and talk to it or do things, treat it right while we ride the horses. Me and Shorty.
My only thought is that if the Vistani see us heading past with 6 barrels, and we pledged that we would try to get them 6 barrels, that could be an awkward conversation if we then only deposit 3. It'd probably be best if we sent at least one of us ahead to just see off any potential altercation en route to Vallaki. I'm happy for that to be me and somebody else if you'd like.
I can go ahead. I'm rather swift on my feet.
Wonderful. Then I'll take one of the horses and head to with Seeker and head a little bit beyond and keep an eye out for the Vistani. If you can follow up with the other horse with the cart between the two of you, Max and Lutz.
I'll stay with the cart. Yes.
I can do it too. Yeah.
Wonderful.
So I guess I would ask you, you do still have like 4 hours in the morning at the winery, so like are you going to just simply wait those out there, or would you like to try to achieve anything in that time? I would say if you asked, they would be looking for Yester Hills. It's only about 50 minutes down the track once you get back on the sort of like the kind of off the beaten tracks. It's just over an hour if you include the walk through the winery's winding road. So you could theoretically go check that out now, or you could leave it to get back as planned.
Are we not able to leave with the wine now?
They're not ready to go yet. They said it's going to take about 4 hours. They've got one of the barrels is damaged. They can go with 5 right now, but they want to have a full shipment then.
Right, okay.
A full shipment for them is 6 barrels. That's the full wagon. So. If you want to push them, they can take 5.
I will.
Definitely. You can take the other Kresik then.
I will go to the old crow. Not old crow, so that's rude. I'll go to the head of the house and ask. Well, I just want a conversation with him.
Yeah, you can find David. He's probably up in the room with the printing press, printing out some new labels. By the time you find him, he's just like humming away to himself.
I'm just walking by. Hi there, hiya. It's only me, me. Hi. I've just got a few questions, kind of like just wondering if you might know, because it's kind of important to me. But the other people don't really know him, so I'm just wondering if you might know this person.
Yes, it is vague.
He's like called like kind of like a big wizard person back in my realm, very well known. His name was Mordenkainen. Kynan? I think I said that wrong.
Yeah, that's
Morden, is that right? Yeah,
Mordecai.
it's like name Mordecai. He's really cool. He's my mentor, you see. I just wondered if you might have heard like a wizard, very powerful in this place before, or passed by, maybe.
No one near the winery, that's for sure. If you need
Don't
to know
know
something
anyone.
like that, ask Danica, Erwin's wife. Not a thing goes by in this valley that she doesn't know. They're over in Valaki.
Okay. I can do that, I think. Oh, yeah. Okay, thank you. Yeah. Also, you mentioned like the seeds that they give you wine and that. Like, what is there anything else you can tell me about them? Like, if there's anything secret or anything helpful to locate the other one? Like, is there any kind of are they really magical or yeah?
They are magical. That is very clear of them. As for how they came to be or anything of that sort, they have been here long before the Martikovs.
I see.
I think that a wizard must have made them.
Oh,
Long
maybe my mentor might have done it. He's quite old.
I think it was before Strahd even ruled this valley.
Okay, maybe not then. Could I maybe make an Arcana check to see if I would know any kind of magical item that could?
Sure, you did Arcana check if you want to see if you can recognize anything about these gems.
I'll assume that Max is next to him while he's asking things, right?
Probably not. I probably would have done it by myself. Asking about my mentor teacher, unless you wanted to talk, unless you wanted to follow me.
I would have stayed and looked after the card. If you move away from the card, then I wouldn't have gone.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. This is kind of just like not a open topic. It's just my personal thing. Oh, nice.
More.
19.
Indeed. Yeah, you sort of think. I mean, like they're probably very powerful if they're able to turn eventually. Not unworkable land, but like, I think, not barren either. Those are the wrong words, but is perhaps inhospitable to what they're growing, allowing them to grow on there. That must be some hell of a magic. Like, you imagine you could probably use that to fuel, like, as a material component in some very powerful spells. Like, already you're like, yeah, the potential there is, you could bring back people from the dead, perhaps, or something like that. Like, maybe it could be used to increase someone's magical ability inherently if they could work out some way to attune to them, or if they were like in place in a wand. Like, the potential there is,
Okay.
You imagine your mentor would love to get his hand on something like that. He probably would have some fucking crazy shit he could pull if he had one of those.
Okay. I'm just gonna thank you for his hospitality, and then I stay here, and I'm just gonna appreciate him talking to me, and I'm gonna walk off.
Lovely.
All dandy.
All right. So in that time, is anyone else doing anything, or?
Seeker would just look around. What did we do with the druid? Did we talk with him?
No, he's still locked up in the basement.
Maybe we should talk with the druid, perhaps, before we leave.
That's exactly what Callum would be doing.
I will join you. You could be good guard, and I can be bad guard.
With this guy, I'm in no mood to be good guard. Don't you
So, bad guard and bad guard.
Put me somewhere in the middle. I'll take
Guard.
head down.
Yep, you head down. One of the probably the younger of the two, like Martikov, like sons. Elvir has been like posted just to keep watch on the jury. He's just watching the door, like more listening over things. He's not got the door open. And you sort of come down. He's like, I haven't heard much from him apart from the odd whimper and wriggle, but he seems fine.
Wonderful. Let's see if we can get more out of him than that. And Callan will head in and probably just check out the area and himself, either notice anything that might be different or generally try to read his mood.
Yeah, you can do an insight check if you want to read his mood, or a perception check if you want to notice anything that's out of place above what your passive perception might be.
Which one do you want to take?
Insight for me, I've just rolled.
Sure, I'm gonna do perception then.
Okay. Max is probably just helping get the other barrels up into the cart at this time, whilst Adrian is off trying to fix the other one.
Yeah, there's not much that Max will do now. I think Matt's probably gonna be helping the Markovs just load the cart and get a horse ready and things like that.
I mean, even just general physical labor, things like there's been a lot of damage to the property, like things he moved back in their original place. Like there's lots for Max to help out with.
Yeah.
So Callan and Seeker, you're kind of on your own down here, just the two of you and Elvire. And you look around Seeker. Nothing seems oddly out of place that you can pick up on. Callan, he seems a bit given up, I guess. Really, the best way to describe it. He's not defeated, but he's not trying to wriggle. He's clearly realized he can't get out of these binds. He's stuck. He can't cast any spells. Even if he does get out of the binds, he's gonna have to get out of the fucking winery. It's he's not got much chance. And he's just laid there, face out on the ground, hog-tied, essentially, wrists to feet. Probably, facing away from you. So then the door opens, he looks, but can't even, get around to get a good look at you.
Callan would probably roll him, if he's kneeling, he'd just kind of just crouch down next to him. If he's kind of on his front, he'd just roll him onto his side and, again, crouch down.
Yep. He achieved. Looks at you.
I think that we may have got off on slightly the wrong foot when you and your friends tried to kill us all. My name's Callan. What's your name?
Stares at you. Make me a persuasion check.
Can Secret help? Kneel down, look at him?
Yeah, if you want to.
No need.
Callan, you persuade this character?
Oh.
With your passive insight, Callan, you're saying these words. You may as well be talking gibberish to this person. You don't think he speaks common. And he does, look like a wild man. He is, wearing rags, and most of his clothing is made of, bits of bark and moss. It's not even they have, much fabric clothing there. It's, what they find in the wild they make do of. The most fabric it gets is, this is a hide of, an animal that has, been killed and, draped over and, just tied together with a bit of, rope or vine or something they found.
In terms of race, does he look human?
Yes, he appears to be a human man. You would have called the Marticals didn't really refer to him as druids; they referred to him as the wild men.
Yeah.
Maybe you could do a performance to get the point across. Wave your hands or gesture.
Perhaps. I was just seeing if there was anything else I could do to try and get some sort of message across. But I do not believe that there is. No. What he will do, he's going to cast the cantrip Minor Illusion to try to impart the kind of this is what he's trying to achieve. He's wanting to basically say, you tried to kill us. We know where your friends are. If you help us, we will potentially spare you and your friends. And he's going to use that with Minor Illusion to create pictures and sounds.
Okay, yeah, I like that idea. Sure. Make me a. Are you being honest in the sparing front, or are you deceiving?
100% not.
Okay. So then, first of all, do me a persuasion check and advantage to try to convey the message, and then do me a single deception check just to see how compelling it is in that front.
I presume Seeker couldn't help on the deception check.
I mean, Seeker, you're not really able to. There's nothing you could add to it that would
Yep, I'm just checking.
More
I kind of figured.
Angry face.
Nodding along in the background.
Yeah.
Just,
There's nothing
Yeah.
There is nothing I can physically do because
just
I'm not a caster.
get your fists out and be like,
But he's not intimidating. He's standing behind you ominously, like
Intimidating would, if anything, would probably give disadvantage to this.
like yeah. He's just like standing behind you ominously, like when you have a mob boss and he has like the muscle behind him. That's basically what's fucking happening now.
How far are you guys from Maximus Point?
They'd be in the basement,
Inside the
so
building.
downstairs.
Oh, so there's no side. Okay, so there's no side. Okay, so there's not in the building. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, so you convey the point quite well. He seems to understand like what you're trying to convey across to him, but you notice like, although this individual doesn't speak common, he doesn't appear to be an idiot whose wool can be pulled so easily over his eyes. You don't think he doesn't you think there's understanding there, but maybe a bit more understanding than you were hoping for. And he doesn't. He will reply in Druidic, which I don't think any of you speak.
No.
So he just says, no.
Could I get a general? Could I insight check to get the general like message he's trying to get across? Like if it's
Sure.
a no,
Inside
yes,
at disadvantage.
on it.
Natural.
17? Seeker? You don't know what he's saying. And considering the position he is in a very, very weak position to barter or argue right now. And although he seems defeated, like Callum would have picked up on earlier, he is confident in a different way. As if, I can't do anything right now, but something's going to happen. Like, he's fully confident that, like, my friends are going to come get me, or something like that. Like, I'm not going to be left here. I'm not going to die here.
He seems unbroken. He has faith.
Callan is going to hold up 10 fingers. He's going to use Minor Illusion to do 2 images.
Mm-hmm.
One that's over here, kind of off to the side, is the 2 of them shaking hands and being friendly with each other to signify help. The other, that's going to be right in front of him as he's holding up these 10 fingers, is going to be of the wild man with his throat becoming cut and blood.
Sure. That's going to be an intimidation check.
And can Seeker crack
And,
his
and then he's going to start counting down.
Sure. Cool. Seeker, make me Seeker can give you advantage, so you can do the intimidation check at advantage.
He's just gonna make his feathers glowy. Like, open his a bit.
They flare up with their magical energy. 24? Yeah, I mean, he kind of looks at you, and like, although his kind of like spirit is unbroken, there is a moment of like, oh dear, and then he'll begin speaking. He'll just begin vomit pouring out words that you don't understand the meaning of.
So that's one of those words that I picked up. Callum will show a picture of Strahd, and basically do like a thumbs up and a smile, and then a thumbs down and a frown to see if he goes like yeah or.
He will. His arms are bound. He will nod.
He will nod, signifying yes, Strahd, good.
He will nod.
Okay.
It can mean like no and yes due to the nature of the English language.
Yeah, nah.
No means yes and yes means no.
Yeah, nah, yeah. Okay, Callan, what would Callan do? He doesn't want to just execute this guy in cold blood. Would he be able to do potentially an Arcana check or another check to try and understand if druids or people like him would have a non-verbal way to communicate if they were able to cast spells?
Would he get advantage because he had a druid in his party?
I mean,
yeah, but the druid he had was a pretty secretive druid.
I don't.
Yeah, sure. God
You can
damn
pull
it.
that card on me and I'll throw it right back in your face.
It's really good. Gave me a bit of guidance. I had to pick cleric just to get guidance.
You gets advantage because like he was fucking showing the wrong way of the druid.
He was
Gave wrong information.
He was turning into birds.
You can
Wait,
do
is birds code a thing?
you can do a probably either I'll let you do a wisdom check, wisdom and like history check, or an intelligence history check, Callan, whatever you prefer.
Straight. Can I do guidance on that?
If you want to take some time to ponder it and offer a small little prayer. 11. There are, languages like that people use. I mean, maybe being a courtier, you don't know many of them, but I think Namir, maybe you might have noticed he done things like knock and stuff in certain manners of like a thieves' cant. It's not unlikely that like someone could develop a language like that in a different way, that would have a similar kind of function. As for the specifics of the language Druidic, you're not a trained Druid, you don't speak it, so like, and it is quite a secretive language, so you don't really know what the extent of their abilities with it would be, I think.
Cool. But in terms of like telepathic spellcasting, like I don't know if I can't remember if message or sending.
Sending message both can work.
Message is a cantrip, and
You
sending
have
would
to
be
see,
a
have
third
to
level
see a
spell.
point, can you? I think.
Message, as long as they're within 120 foot of you and you can point in their direction, they can go through most barriers.
But would it cross a language barrier?
No. Sending would,
Sending would. That's it.
Sending does.
Yeah.
but message
And
doesn't.
There's various other spells like Vicious Mockery they don't need to understand. Yeah.
Comprehend language is a thing.
Yeah.
Comprehend language can help overcome language barriers. Tongues can massively overcome language barriers.
Yeah,
Any of those would be
probably
appropriate.
I'll be right back. Let's go and grab a drink.
Nice. Okay, so. Okay, Callan will suggest to Seeker, as Seeker's just gone around to get some wine from the other room.
Yeah.
It's about, hey Seeker, I think we should give this guy an opportunity to talk. I don't want it to be down here with the wine and in secret. I want to give him an opportunity to talk with us outside. I want to remove his binds and encourage him to talk. And we should all be there to take the necessary action if he was to go against any sort of agreement of non-violence. Because basically, Callan does not want to execute this guy.
Yeah.
Certainly not while he's hogtied. He wants to give him an opportunity to actually comply and participate in what they're trying to do. However, he wants to make sure that we have, everything like stacked in our favour if he decides to try and turn tail.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, like you can. I mean, he's tied, so it's just a more logistical thing of Seeker can carry him up the stairs for you, without much difficulty. And you can get him you can literally take him out the front if you want, out the front of the winery, or you can try to go to a slightly private room.
Yeah. So Seeker, what we're going to do, unless you have another suggestion, is we're going to take this guy outside, sort of away from the winery, maybe around the back or the side. We're going to get the other two in the team. We're going to all stand back and ready everything in case this guy tries to either run or fight, and we're going to give him an opportunity to talk. So it's going to be a bit like a firing squad, and then one of us will remove his binds from him, and then we will give him an opportunity to talk.
Sure thing.
But he can't speak common.
He can't speak common, but he may be able to communicate in other ways with his spellcasting, for example.
Alright, firing. That went fucking dark. Alright, let's go.
What went dark?
We are a firing squad, and
I mean, to be fair, I just showed him a picture of himself.
It was dark. It was dark in the beginning, but it got a bit darker.
Like, I'm very much towing the line of good alignment here.
I think
I've not actually done anything that the Sunblade's not bruh.
I was about to say, the Sunblade is like, what?
Yo, bro. Get on, bro.
Like, I mean, this is some Namir level shit. This is Namir if he was a spellcaster slowly.
Gonna check something with the Sun Sword actually, because I think the
one
Sun
thing
Sword might speak gold.
Oh.
One thing that he is going to do as well is he's going to say the phrase, "Do you understand me?" in Celestial and Draconic and Elvish and Infernal.
And Seeker, getting the gist, would add in Deep Speech, Auron, and Undercommon. If anything picks up.
To all of those,
Why does Seeker have
no
Deep
reply.
Speech? It seems he can't speak at all in our languages.
Well, they don't call them wild men for nothing. It's probably the only language they need to know.
The Sun Sword, Callan, as you're sort of like, transporting this guy up the stairs, will invoke in you a emotion of distrust, and it will invoke in you probably an emotion of, I would say, hate, perhaps, towards the individual.
If I was to try and kind of emotionally, empathetically, one of those two, emotionally communicate with the sword to basically say, spare his life versus take his life, do I get a feeling of vengeance or do I get a feeling of mercy?
Let's see.
So lucky Max is not there, bro.
Kill everyone.
The
I think
Sun
that kind of
Sword.
boxes.
The Sun Sword would evoke a fear of an emotion of mercy, but with an underlying fear of like regret, or like a fear of, this action may result in worse outcomes in the long run that maybe aren't as clear right now. Like a moment of, this action will have a consequence no matter what way it goes.
So you might as well stick to your morals and retain the goodness in you and deal with that side rather than just like corrupting your own soul and then suffering consequences anyway.
I think it would associate most with, it would probably associate most with it would actually, you know what it would do? The Sun Sword would commit empathy to you, and would commit empathy to those who lose people. And when doing so, it would draw your focus almost on Seeker momentarily, without you even realizing it, as he's like dragging this guy upstairs.
So just processing that out loud, I'd probably turn to Seeker and be like, we all got the feelings from when we handled the sword. It's like it's trying to communicate with me. I'm getting a lot of grief and loss, but mercy. There's a lot of conflicting feelings, but everything seems to make sense with what it's telling me. I fear that whatever we do, things are not going to end well. And potentially whatever being is providing the sentience to this weapon, it's lost people, like you have with your friends, like I have with my brother. I don't know what to do, Seeker.
And Callan, I guess what I would ask you is, have you been curious enough to try to evoke the sword's ability?
That's one of the things I would have tried to do on my long rest, or the kind of the resting parts of it.
Then you would know that as you did it, the blade formed this like channeling beam that emit like bright light in a 15-foot radius and dim light in an additional 15-foot.
Is it sunlight? By chance?
I mean, it's called Sunblade, so I'm guessing.
Like, is it entire vampire lightsaber, or is it just lightsaber?
The vampire lightsaber.
Well, Callum would know it's a +2 longsword that does radiant damage instead of slashing damage, and if you hit an undead event, it does an extra 1d8 radiant damage. It doesn't it is sunlight. It is actually like the same as the icon of Ravenloft, but this one is not limited to charges. As long as the blade is out, sunlight spills around you.
Is there a radius for the sunlight?
Well, that's
15-foot radius of bright, 15-foot radius of dim.
So that's 30.
well.
And Callan can even adjust it if he wants, so he can do it all the way up. If he puts it on max, basically, he can make it a 30-foot bright, 30-foot dim, or a 10-foot bright, 10-foot dim.
Wow.
So it's got an adjustable
just
slider.
Just out of character, I'm thinking Spirit Guardians, Sword Out, and Dodge is going to be a pretty good combo if we come up against anything that's going to be harmed by sunlight.
Grapple. Max could grapple the person into the fucking sunlight and just like stun, die.
Things like the Sunblade paired with the holy icon of Ravenkind. Things like Sunblade, 30-foot radius. Every undead in this area is now stunned, and then like they can't leave. Like,
Brilliant.
there's like multiple ways the artifacts all work together.
Suddenly, the holy symbol can really relied on less for the sunlight and a lot more for
On its other items.
or the whole abilities. Wonderful. Right. Okay.
That is fucking great.
I've also
Anyway,
got an idea. Seeker, what if we allow this wild man to return to his people, and we follow him, and we do it plain as day. We let him go free, because I know that some of us are not necessarily the sneakiest, but we could also try. But we follow him, and whether he goes to Yester Hill or whether he goes to somewhere else, we will find him and follow him.
I was about to suggest the same. As for the moral implications of the sword, I am not sure. It seems sentient in one way or another. How it achieves so is beyond me, but I would heed its feelings, considering you will be wielding it. This voice is hurting.
This voice is hurting my voice.
I think you're right. The last thing I'd want to do is get on its wrong side, whatever its wrong side is, but I'm definitely sensing that this is a conflicted being, or rather a being with conflicted feelings, but is generally good. I definitely think that this will help us in our quest. Right, let's get the others and let's go outside and let's talk.
When I finished packing everything up, Opal.
Yes, you're just awaiting the final barrel, which if you go into the barrel maker's room, you see that Adrian has basically had to... He's like just working on like basically decanting it over into a fresh barrel, but he's had to... There's a whole new barrel and he's treated, and it's a bit of a fucking process. He's currently like just making sure it's all sealed and soaking it and making sure the water's in it so it doesn't leak wine everywhere, because like of course they've not been in the winery for like a while now, so all the barrels have dried up. So it's going to take him a couple of hours to sort.
Cool, I'll be like, guys, we're almost done over here. Let's go. As I grab the last barrel and just put it in their thing.
So you're still missing one barrel, is what I'm saying. He says, like they've said, it'll be at least 10 a.m. before they're ready to go, because they've got to finish treating these barrels and then decant it over and then load it up. You can push them to go another 5 if you want.
We've got the last barrel.
Max, could I borrow you for a moment?
Sure. Wipe my hands. Let's go. Yes,
the wild man that we took as a hostage yesterday, it would appear as though he doesn't speak common or celestial or draconic or infernal or elvish or deep speech or undercommon. Or
you want to try Sylvan? Anyone tried Sylvan?
I've not tried Sylvan. We could perhaps
I
gather
tried
everyone
speak
together. Please feel
Speak
free.
Sylvan, I could try. I go up to the druid guy and I start speaking Sylvan.
Okay.
Do you understand me?
I do.
No, don't think so. I tried.
Meanwhile, that's happening.
There was an attempt to speak with this.
Meanwhile, that's happening, and I'm alone. Could I maybe try and
Oh,
talk a little short prayer, see if my patron of the warlock, my angel, is telling me I'm on the right path and I'm doing okay? Because Lux is a bit confused and scared.
Daddy, am I a good boy?
I'm gonna take my staff out as well. I'm gonna take my staff out. Say, That's. I keep trying to see because it's not gonna speak. I speak everything again. Common, giant, Leonin, Sylvan. And
Nope.
else.
Nothing.
This. Where does this come from? This. Where?
He looks at it like wide-eyed.
You go like, where? Like Italian.
Does he speak Italian?
Yeah, he speaks fluent. Ciao, bello.
Okay, guys, you got it. It's Italian.
No, Bello, this blood is from the tree.
Oh, he can't speak in a normal language. He's Italian.
It's what it is. Like,
Quick question. Now that you are a halfling, are you a halfling that doesn't know the halfling language? But
Yeah, that's
doesn't know
correct.
Leonin?
Yep, correct. I know Leonin though. I know Leonin, and I know Sylvan and I know Giant.
He can't speak child.
But yes, as you're sort of like just going through the languages, he doesn't respond, and like trying to get him to convey about the staff. I think just make me a general persuasion check for that. Again, I would say it would be advantage for the staff, but it'd be disadvantage because of the language barrier.
Oh, so
The flat persuasion.
Flat persuasion. All right, let's do this.
Where is this from?
Shit. Just open my thing. Wait.
10. Doesn't seem
Yep.
like, although he looks at it with envy and recognition, doesn't seem to.
Yeah, can I try to intimidate him? That fucking staff has to come.
I mean, Max, you work out pretty quick. I mean, maybe Max doesn't work out, but Callan and Seeker at least realize very quickly the wild man doesn't understand what Max wants. He's just waving the stick in his face, and he's flinching like he's about to get hit in the face, and like, but Max just stops short every time.
I started making noise. Like, staff, where?
Max. If I didn't know the word where,
I'm getting somewhere here. I think he understands what I'm trying to say. Look, he looked at me. Look.
Yes, he looked at you. He has eyes. However, Max, maybe being more expressive with your body language rather than
What do you mean expressive?
pointing
nothing.
the same. Honestly, like your English, just saying the same word over and over.
God, yeah.
What?
It's like
So Callan will, without saying anything, in fact, repeating the word "where" to give context to it, he will point to the staff and then point to the Gulfius tree, and then question mark in the air isn't going to do anything. He's just going to kind of shrug and just kind of point between them.
Yep.
And look expectantly.
Do a. This will just be a general performance check, I think, just trying to break that barrier once more.
can Super help? Just like assist in maybe pointing.
There's more than enough for you trying to convey things here, so yeah, you can have advantage. I'll be nice. An 11. He just seems completely confused as to what you're trying to suggest.
Could he?
Meanwhile, Lux, you're reaching out to your deity, or your kind of like spirit that aids you, your celestial that watches over you.
Yes.
Probably the first time you've directly reached out to them since you've arrived in Barovia. And it's a weird sensation. You like close your eyes, feel that morning sun on your face. Well, the morning light that passes through the cloud that's not actually sunlight.
Like,
Um,
oh, I miss the sun.
Yeah. through the dark clouds, and it is strange because although you normally would have quite a strong connection, a strong link, and although you feel that presence there, like you feel that power, you can cast the spells granted to you by that entity, yet silence.
Nothing. I don't like this. Maybe I should try and leave soon.
All you see is you like close your eyes and like think and try to get any vision there. You just see mist, a winding road and mist. Like you're a lost traveler.
I will just get very uneasy and start scratching my hair and slowly, accidentally, come alone, maybe drop my form just a bit, but then I revert back to Lux.
Yeah, like
Lux's appearance.
Flickers out for a moment and then flickers back in almost instinctively. Yeah.
Meanwhile,
these guys are over here playing like fucking like physical theater games with the staff, balancing it on their chin. Like the druid looks impressed but confused.
The druid's like,
It is the worst game of Strahd you have ever seen.
yeah, after trying, it's like, guys, I don't think he understands. I'm going to the conclusion he doesn't know what we're saying.
I mean, this is what I was trying to tell you.
This is like a bad joke, a chicken, a child, and a comedian walk into a bar. I forgot the punchline.
What? And they say, "Hi, Max."
That's a very bad That's please, stay with day job. It's just very bad.
His day job is punching people. Let's moderate his day job a little. Anyway, so Max, I was thinking with the language barrier, and when Lux comes, we'll check his out to no success as well. I don't want to execute this man in cold blood. Although he would have almost certainly done the same to us given the opportunity. I believe him to be an ally of the man who is in the tall castle on the hill, whose name I will not say because that is the one word he said that I did recognise. And I think that we could gain more from him by allowing him to leave this place unharmed, and for us to follow him back to Yester Hill.
Perhaps we take him tied up and he leads us away. I don't feel comfortable letting him free just yet.
If we don't untie him, I don't think he will comply. I don't think that. I get the sense that he is waiting for something to happen that will be good for him.
He will. And then Max comes and picks him up and puts him on his shoulders. Whoop!
I agree with.
And how do you expect him, given that he cannot tell you where that staff came from? What makes you think that he's going to willingly give you directions to a place that you can't explain while he's on your back?
Yeah, Max, that wasn't very smart.
And then I reach over and I fucking squeeze his balls. Oh!
You do realise that, Max, you've got him over your shoulder, but his feet and his hands, his feet and his head are still on the ground in front of you and behind you.
How about this?
You've not so much picked him up as made him...
You're going to tell us where you're going to go now.
I don't want to king shame Max, but this is a tad weird.
Yeah, I think this is going a bit too far.
Max squeezes his balls, and the wild man writhes and kicks and screams, and he's going to try to break free of the grapple. Max, if you can make me an athletics check to maintain it.
Oh, okay.
Seeker will look to Callan, and he'll like gesture to his hand, and then he'll gesture to Callan, to Max's like tent.
He tries to wiggle away, and you just lock him in there.
I'm like, no. He's like,
guys, can you hear Casmus talking?
Can you hear me?
I can.
Oh, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you now, sorry.
That's right. Sorry, because I think there was two conversations that were overlapping, and I couldn't
I can hear
get
you.
either of them.
Sorry,
Go for it, Seeker.
my bad. Casimus, or fuck, not Casimus. I'm Casimus. The Seeker would look to kind of like, and he like looked to Max, like his attempt to basically torture a druid, and then he'd look to Callan. He'd do like this motion, and quizzically look back to Max as he's doing the.
What? You can
Should I
use your words,
stop?
but it's not like it's going to be picked up.
Yes, but I thought that if I out loud said, "Should I punch him?" he might protest.
Oh, so you thought you'd try a visual instead, which he's much more likely to understand?
I mean, he does got full of
Yes.
lock on his balls at the moment. So.
He is distracted at the moment with other things.
Yes, Max and his bollock. Bollock. Yes, okay. Where's Lux? Where is Lux?
Lux is
I
right
don't
there
know.
next to you.
Alright.
I came back last night.
He came back after his little prayer.
Hey, sorry, Lux, you were hidden behind Max there. What languages do you know?
Not a lot. I know Primordial, Undercommon, and that's it.
Try
not
talking
Primordial,
Abyssal as well.
Try talking to him, Primordial and Abyssal.
I'll be like, Abyssal. I'll start speaking Abyssal, like, how do you do, partner? And in Primordial, I'm like, ooh, trees, they're cool.
Okay.
Is it promoted like the elemental language, like Aquan?
I will. Sorry.
Does covers those 4 languages, something like that? It does, doesn't it?
Aquan, Oran, Ignan,
Yeah.
and
Terran.
Yeah. Callum will be watching him for any sign of a reaction of recognition.
Okay. So he doesn't pick up anything from the Abyssal or the Undercommon, but the Primordial, he doesn't. It's like you're speaking French to someone who's Italian. There is like words that are kind of similar, but like not enough to form a good conversation with. Like there's a small bit of recognition there, but not enough.
Maybe if you do this, it might help.
I'm gonna hold up my hand and I'm gonna cast Minor Illusion, and it's gonna be like the staff, you know, like what Max is holding, but it's like kind of slowly like mending, like being built as if, you know, like a tree like branch, it's like kind of like growing, as if it's getting creative. And I'm gonna be like pointed like that, and then the question mark maybe.
Sure. Make me a performance check again, so we just to try to convey your.
I mean, does he know what question mark is? That's a question.
So I want to say I will need to hop off for about 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's fine.
So soon.
Max,
Also,
Kermit, didn't you say that you can't go beyond 9 o'clock?
didn't you say you are supposed to be ending that?
I'm gonna have to go about 9, yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. So we're gonna wrap
Good
it up.
enough
We're
for
gonna wrap it
another
up
15
with this. Whatever happens is true. It'll be the last little bit.
We
This
could
is
go,
like, you try to
15
convey
minutes,
to him,
just finish the bit up.
and he just seems confused. Like by the, he doesn't understand why you're trying to plant the staff in the ground, or just there's something he's lost there.
I'm gonna just try and be like, Tree, where you're from in Primordial, like, no. Who's your leader? I'm like, who's your leader? Who are you? Start shaking. I don't know what to say.
I think I'm gonna hear saying, Paul,
look.
I start to feel sorry for this guy. He doesn't know what the fuck we say. Everyone's coming to his face like talking. Someone fucking squeezing his balls. He's like, oh my god.
Callan's
Seeker.
gonna try it.
Hang on,
Callan's
the
gonna
Seeker's got his hand up, so I'm gonna.
Yeah, go on.
No, sorry, no, you first. I wanted to suggest we could rename the stream to Lost in Translation Strahd Edition.
So Callum will try and regain a bit of control on the situation. But Max, can you release the dangleberries? Let's say. Thank you.
Shit, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry, fella.
Yes. Lux, what is the word where, as in to signify a location in Primordial?
Oh, my God. There we go.
That's what it is now.
Callan will repeat, fuck that was. pointing to the staff and looking around. So he's going to try the whole where thing.
Okay. The druid can't point anywhere, but I guess he will.
But he can look.
He'll
nod.
he'll look at the staff in Max's hand.
Fair enough. Yeah. Okay. Right, guys. We need to make a decision. We need to make a decision about what we do with this man. Do we take him as an offering of sorts to those at Yester Hill, or as a threat? Do we allow him to leave and follow him, or do we leave him as a prisoner, or do we finish him? Now,
Just bear in mind, we already finished some of his friends, so...
I mean,
with that in mind...
that was necessary to preserve our own life.
With that in mind, if they are wild people, as the winemaker was saying, I don't think they will take us kind wherever we go, so...
I mean, like, I'm not a big fan of, like, killing people. Like, it's not my kind of thing. But, like, I just don't think sending him to them would be a smart idea. Because then they'll know we're coming. And, like, it could go bad.
Oh, don't get me wrong. If we're sending him to them, we will most certainly be right on his heels.
What's
Don't
everyone's
we have to
passive
do, like-
perceptions, by the way?
16.
Mine is
14.
15.
Okay.
Sorry, perception, 12.
I don't know mine anymore. 16.
So, Lux and Callan, while you're deciding what to do with this druid, you see silhouetted on that overcast sky. What? For a sec, it's a horse. It's a flying horse. But its mane glows with a red fire, and its hooves, its fetlocks go with that similar flame. And astride it is a figure. A man. Long black hair and pale skin. He doesn't seem to take note of you as he gallops overhead, maybe about 150, 200 foot up, heading in the direction of Yester Hill. And as he does, the light in the sky begins to turn ever slightly dark. And that's where we're going to stop for tonight.
Brilliant.
Hey.